What's up, guys? Happy Friday. So, what I'm going to do is just share my screen and hit some bets. Hopefully, you guys are able to see this. So, let's go ahead. Let's share my screen. I say this in every video, but in these videos, I'm just showing you, what I'm putting my own money on, for the sports books that I use. Maybe you use different sports books. Maybe you watch a lot of sports and you don't, agree with some of the bets I'm hitting. But at the end of the day, I follow a very data-driven approach. Some people have different strategies, power to you if it works. My strategy is pretty simple, right? It's all just about following the market, right? Following data on different, sports books and looking for value in the market. So for example, this is a play that I gave out on Fliff earlier. When I gave this out on Twitter, I think it was minus 110 odds. You can see this play is still available at minus 125, and it looks pretty good, right? And the reasoning is pretty simple. All the other sports books, right? So you look at Bet Online. Bet Online is known to be a really sharp, sophisticated sports book. They're pricing this all the way down at minus 196, and they have been ripping this guy's under lower and lower. They're all the way down at minus 196. It's giving you minus, 175. A lot better, right? 71 cents of improvement. So really, it's just about following a data-driven approach for me. And that's personally what I do. But again, everyone can bet in their own way. Another thing is just like, when you're using any, if you're starting out sports betting, my number one recommendation is just get as many sports books as possible. So I've explained this before, but all these sports books, Hot Streak, for example, is one I recently signed up for. So hopefully it loads here in a sec. You're going to see all these sports books. They all do the same thing. They take bets, right? There's nothing super complicated. So they all offer these new user sign-up bonuses. On Hot Streak, you put in $200. They give you $200 for free. It's literally the easiest $200 you're ever going to make. So the more sports books you have, first of all, the more promos you get. So you can see here, Hot Streak's running a promo. PrizePicks runs a promo every single Friday. Flex Friday. Your first play on PrizePicks is insured up to $20. So one thing to note about that is if you actually look at PrizePicks, you want to play this for 33.33. Your net losses are insured up to $20. So if you go 3 for 5 in a 5 flex play, you actually lose $20 and you get the full amount back. So long story short, you can bet this for $33 because when you go 3 for 5 in a 5 flex, you get back 0.4x of your money. So long story short, more books you have, the better. You never know where the value is going to be, where the opportunity is going to be. So currently I'm in New York. You can just look at the state you're currently located in and filter for the sports books, that you're using. So you can see in New York, it looks like there's, a bunch of different sports books. Here are the ones I'm going to be using today. You can kind of like filter them out, filter them in. I have my max odds set to, usually 200, 205, whatever. And then usually you can set this around 75. Again, doesn't really matter. Some people like to set it a little lower, a little higher, whatever. All it does is kind of fine tune the bets. So what we can do is we can just kind of get into it, start placing some bets. Again, I'm just showing you sports books I use and, the plays I'm putting my own money on. So I've explained before, a lot of people will be like, yeah, why is this bet available at this current point in time? And again, just like the price of a stock, the market's always moving. So I've explained before, weather changes in the MLB, all these things move lines, right? Player lineup changes. So as official starting lineups are released, when the White Sox starting hitters are released, that affects whoever the White Sox are playing, that affects the pitcher props, right? If all these guys strike out a lot, then the opposing pitcher, his strikeout line is going to get more towards the over, or you may see that player strikeout line move from 3.5 to 4.5 or something like that. So the market's always moving, right? Just like the price of a stock. So if you look up Amazon stock, it's up 10% today because there's new news in the market, right? The company apparently made a lot of money last quarter. So the price is up, right? So it's kind of the same thing in sports betting. Sports books are always kind of adjusting odds, moving things around based on, lineup changes, weather changes in baseball and football, sharp action coming in. If everyone comes in and starts hammering the under, sportsbooks are going to move odds in direction of the under. So you can see here, Pickle, this is known to be one of the smarter sports books, sharper sports books. So you put more weight in their odds. They're pricing this all the way down at minus 172. So long story short, the approach I use and the bets I place is much more of like a trading approach. My background is I was a trader. I was a quant on Wall Street for a while. And that's how I bet. I don't bet by watching sports. I really don't care. I don't plan on watching the Astros game tonight, but I know this is a profitable bet, right? Because you can see all the other books are pricing this around plus 100, and we're getting plus 120 on Fliff. So Fliff, unfortunately, it's not like a platform you can from your computer, but you can, you can bet from a mobile app. This is the first play I'll go with. Then we'll go over to some of the fantasy books like Underdog Fantasy. But really, at the end of the day, nothing complicated. It's just taking these bets in green, these plays with a mathematical edge, where you're getting value compared to the market. So it's pretty simple, right? Like all these books move around odds. So if you would have told me, that I could have bought Amazon at 128, given changes in the market today, there's new information in the market, the company's making a lot of money, obviously would have done that. The stock price is up a lot. So long story short, is a really good play to go with. So this will be the first play we lock in. We'll be in the Astros game on Pickett. So again, on Fliff. That's where I'm placing this bet, right? And it should be pretty clear that Fliff is a major discrepancy. So who really knows? You can see all these other sports books, probably lineup changes, right? When official starting lineups come out, you'll see a lot of sports books kind of moving around lines. You're going to see DraftKings has ripped the odds lower from plus 120 down to plus 100. So it's kind of like, having a bunch, like the fact that sports books set different odds from one another is crazy. It's kind of like having 100 different prices for a stock. If you go to Fidelity and you go to E-Trade, you're going to see the price of Amazon is roughly 141.20. So what's crazy about sports betting is all these books, they all set lines independently. So this will be the first play we lock in. And at the end of the day, we have tons of videos kind of breaking down EV betting, your profit margin, the math behind EV betting, what are no vig odds, all that sort of thing. But, if you don't really care about the math, the strategy, and you just want to make money, kind of just boils down to placing, profitable bets on the sports books you use. These plays kind of highlighted in green. So you can see here's another one. Went ahead and just locked in, right? You can see all these other sports books have ripped the total lower, right? The under is getting a lot more favored. You can pull up a little line movement chart here, and you can see all the other sports books have moved this to be priced around like minus 145 odds. Fliff is asleep at the wheel, still letting you bet this at minus 125. So we want to rip that, right? This is a profitable bet, all found using data, right? Just following market movements. All these books set lines independently. So we treat them all as like a data point, literally, on where the line should be set. So what we can do is we can start out, we can get to the fantasy screen. So this fantasy optimizer is kind of a new tool on OddsJam. You just go here to like fantasy optimizer. And it's a pretty interesting tool because again, like sports books like FanDuel, they work a lot differently. Like FanDuel, there's all these odds, there's all these numbers on the platform. Whereas when you look at PrizePicks, right, there's no odds, there's no numbers. It's just lines. So the way that PrizePicks works is it's a fixed payout platform. Right. So what I mean by that is on PrizePicks, any two picks you select, you're always getting the same payout. So they really simplified sports betting. Like you select any two picks, you're getting a 3x payout. That's how their platform works. It doesn't matter if I change this to, a basketball pick, big three, whatever that is, a new league, is you're going to see they're giving you a 3x payout for any two pick entry. So PrizePicks is legal in New York, so is FanDuel, so is Caesars. So those are the books, platforms that I'm going to be focused on in this video. But every state has different sports books, right? So if you mainly use these DFS platforms like PrizePicks, Underdog Fantasy, then, maybe you want the fantasy optimizer. You don't want the positive EV tool. But all these tools work in slightly similar ways. So you can see here, there's a lot of, big discrepancies out there in the market. So where do we want to start? We can start on Underdog Fantasy. We can start on PrizePicks. And all OddsJam is doing on this tool, so the positive EV tool, it just shows you like big discrepancies in odds. So for example, OddsJam's recommending this bet, David Peterson under 5.5 hits allowed, because Fliff is, way off from the rest of the market. Every other sports book, including the really sharp sports books, the really smart sports books, these sports books take betting action from all around the world. They have pretty high betting limits, so their lines in general are very accurate. Is they're pricing these, this line around like -172 and -196. So Bet Online really has the underfavored. Pinnacle around -172. So this is a good bet, right? So it's showing you big discrepancies in sportsbook odds, right? Whereas one book priced at, -125 and other books have an average price of -156. On the other hand, this fantasy optimizer shows you a lot of differences in where books are setting the line in the first place. So if you take a look right here, I'll actually just reload this and I can go back here. What's up, guys? We got some people on live stream. You can find some plays. So if we go to Underdog Fantasy, right, like all OddsJam is doing here is it's reading in all these esports lines and pointing out where are there discrepancies in the market. Again, maybe you watch esports, maybe you have different opinions on some of these players, but it's pretty simple, right? Like you would never see this in like the NHL shots on goal. You won't see a player where his line is 3.5 on Underdog, 2.5 on PrizePicks, right? That's a crazy difference, right? That's like 1.5x almost the line from PrizePicks to Underdog Fantasy. You'll never see it. You'll never see this in the NBA, right? 2.5 versus 3.5. That's 25 PRAs versus 35 PRAs. It's a massive discrepancy. So all OddsJam is doing is really pointing out these big discrepancies. In general, it seems like Underdog Fantasy is the side that is usually off from the rest of the market. So it doesn't look like some of the other fantasy sites like SportsBattle and ParlayPlay have already, well, this play looks crazy. Well, this play actually already locked in. So unfortunately, I already locked this in. But if you didn't, this is a great play to include in your slip. Valkyrie under 12.5, map 1 to 3 kills. Underdog Fantasy has his line at 12.5. I actually bet it under 14.5. It's a lot better than 12.5. But this play's still super good, right? You're going to see PrizePicks has his line 2 points lower at 10.5. ParlayPlay, another sportsbook, has his line even lower than that at 9.5. So it's about as clear as it gets, right? Obviously, it was really good at 14.5, but it's still an insanely good play at 12.5, right? Imagine AD's rebound line is 10.5 on PrizePicks, 12.5 on Underdog. You don't see that happen, right? It's only in esports where sportsbooks, they really can't manage their lines, right? Like, which is why if you don't bet on esports, a lot of people are like, I don't watch esports, so I don't think I should bet on it. But it doesn't really matter, right? There's thousands of different lines available. CSGO, League of Legends. All these books are trying to set their lines independently. And that means more surface area for the books to cover, right? More room for them to screw up. There's so many games. In the NFL, there's really only games on Sunday. Whereas in esports, there's dozens of games every single day. Books are trying to post thousands of lines. So that means there's more spots for their models to get out of sync and for them to screw up. So this play obviously looks really good on Underdog Fantasy, right? Valkyrie under 12.5. If you want to go ahead and lock it in, but I'll go ahead. I'll refresh this. And again, it's pretty simple. Like PrizePicks, ParlayPlay, Underdog Fantasy, all these different sports books, they've invested millions of dollars in their ability to set lines, right? It's their full-time job. They have the best data feeds in the world. They have tons of engineers. And that's why I don't bet with my gut, right? Like most people are just like, oh, I'm going to create my own little model to outsmart FanDuel, right? It's like, FanDuel is a multi-billion-dollar company with hundreds of engineers, better data feeds than you, better data sources than you. You're not just going to be able to like spin up a better model than FanDuel Sportsbook. Your gut isn't going to outsmart FanDuel. That's what everyone tries to do, and it just doesn't work, right? Like that's what the sportsbooks hope, is that people are betting with their gut or betting with their own model. The way that you actually beat the books is you think more like a trader, right? More like an investor, is you're looking for discrepancies, edges in the market where bets are mispriced, essentially. So that's essentially what all the tools on OddsJam do. It's just helping you find inefficiencies in the market. So this play looks great, right? Grell's line, this player right here, and you could throw in Valkyrie if you want to, but I already bet it, is you can see right here, Grell's line, this guy's line is 2.5 on PrizePicks. In general, seems to be the smarter sports book for esports. His line is 3.5 on Underdog Fantasy. So PrizePicks is a data point, right? PrizePicks is probably the biggest company out there taking bets in the United States. You know, it's legal in almost every location. And their model is saying, no, Grell's line should be 2.5. Underdog Fantasy's at 3.5. So that seems like a really good play. So that's the first one we can go with. On Underdog Fantasy, you can't play players from the same team, both to go, you know. So long story short, you got to pick Grell or Guigo. You're not going to be able to play both of them in the same slip. You can play them in different slips. But regardless, what we can do is just kind of look for some plays. So what we can do is we can kind of scroll through. So here seems like a pretty good one. For example, this Kingen player, right? So like, you know, in general, you can just take the top 3 bets on Underdog Fantasy or the top 5 bets. You can just kind of go down the list. But one thing I like to do as well, like one reason the Valkyrie play is really good is, you know, you're very confident that Underdog Fantasy is the one screwing up their line and the side with value because both PrizePicks and ParlayPlay are lower. It's a little more complicated, right? In this, you know, example of Prague. So you look at this player, it's like, sure, there's a big discrepancy, but it's only between Underdog Fantasy and ParlayPlay. You don't have any other data points on where the line should be set. Underdog is saying it's 6.5. ParlayPlay is saying it's 5.5. It's like, who's wrong, right? Which side is off from the market? Which side has value? It's not really clear. Whereas in this play with Valkyrie, the word I like to use is confidence. And, you know, you'll hear investors talk about this word a lot. It's like, how confident are you that your investment has an edge? And here, it's like we're more confident in this play on Valkyrie because not only PrizePicks is telling us, hey, Underdog Fantasy has their line play, but ParlayPlay, their model's even lower than PrizePicks at 9.5. So it's like, yo, that seems like a really good play. So what we can do is we can refresh this and try to find a couple more plays on Underdog Fantasy to go with for today. So already got some good ones down. Again, like you never know when the best bet occur, when sports books are going to screw up. Sometimes it's after, you know, big line movements. So you're going to see all the other books. This is just rational, data-driven sports betting. All the other books have ripped the line a lot more in favor of the under for David Peterson, under 5.5 hits allowed. It's not a lock. This play's not guaranteed to win. Nothing like that. It's just a play with an edge, right? We're getting -125 when the sharpest bookmakers out there, Pinnacle and Bet Online, are pricing this, you know, around -180, -185. Seems like a good deal, right? You're looking for bets on sale, inefficiencies in the market. So we can go here. We can try some plays. So let's go to Underdog Fantasy. We already have this play on Grell, and it's like, okay, well, let's find some other plays. So Valkyrie, I'm not going to be able to bet again. You know, unfortunately, Underdog Fantasy for these esports plays, they only let me bet $100. So I'm just going to be able to bet $100. But we can keep going through and try to find some good plays. And again, ideally, we can find some plays where Underdog Fantasy is screwing up from all the other books. So if you look at this player, right, Underdog Fantasy has his line at 2.5. You look at ParlayPlay. So let's go here. I don't think ParlayPlay is legal in New York, so I'm not going to be able to bet it. Or sorry, I apologize. SportsBattle, right, has his line at 2. PrizePicks also has this player's line at 2, right? And it's so simple. It's almost shockingly simple, right? But that's really the betting strategy, right? You're finding inefficiencies in the market and you're capitalizing on them. It's nothing complicated that OddsJam's doing. It's just pointing out discrepancies like this one and, you know, kind of rational sports betting, right? Like it's kind of like if you went to Fidelity, E-Trade, Robinhood, all these different places, and they told you the price of Amazon was $141.20. And then you went over to Charles Schwab and they said, we'll let you buy Amazon for $120. You'd be like, that's a no-brainer. That's a good deal. Sign me up. So it's kind of the same thing here, right? Like we're following the market data, these other market data points where other books are pricing lines, and we're just looking for inefficiencies in the market. And you can see there's a lot of good ones. So here's another play, Hug, right? Hoglet and Ricky are two other ones. So any of these players from the same game? No. So we're going to be able to bet this. So this will be what I lock in. And again, like finding plays with an edge is how you win long term. That's not guaranteed to win. None of that BS, right? These are just plays with an edge, right? We're finding a line at 5 when the other books are saying, no, this should be priced at 4.5. That's a good betting opportunity, right? Like I've said it a million times, but you're not going to be able to outmodel the sports books who have poured millions of dollars into this. And if you think your gut is smarter than the market, you know, that's what 99.9% of people think. They try to bet with their gut, and that's why the books are in business in the first place. It doesn't work. So this will be the first play, and of course they move it. So it looks like this play on UMT just moved. So I got to shut up a little more and play some more bets. So we have Hoglet and Grell under. Now I need one more play because I talked too much. And we can check out this play on Jonquel Jones. So I actually think I hit this on PrizePicks as well. Or we could take this one, Karras over 3.5. Let's take a look at this one. Karras over 3.5, right? So here it's the opposite scenario, right? This line, and we have 3 other data points, right? SportsBattle, PrizePicks, and ParlayPlay. It kind of sucks because the main sports books, you know, you think about like Caesars, FanDuel, they don't post esports player prop lines. I don't even know if they post esports at all. But mainly, you know, for esports, you're going to be on PrizePicks, Underdog Fantasy if you have access to them. But again, like same strategy, just following the data. Nothing super complicated to get an edge and win long term. I don't really care about like short-term swings and profit and loss. It's all about the long-term focus. So this will be the first play I lock in. 3 picks. We can find some more bets on Underdog Fantasy. I'm tons of plays. We can also take a look at Caesars, you know, and see if there's any bets out there. Like on Caesars, I'm much more using the positive EV tool, whereas for these fantasy sites like Underdog Fantasy, I'm unsurprisingly more using the fantasy optimizer. So pretty cool stuff. And again, we have more tutorial videos about, you know, how to calculate the profit margin of your bets. A lot of people are interested in that. You know, what are no vig odds? How do you calculate them? Stuff like that. So full tutorial videos. I'm trying to keep these live streams more just about placing bets. But if you want to learn about that type of stuff, we have tons of videos. And again, like why I love sports betting so much and why it's so powerful and why you can be so profitable is you got to remember, like, even if you can just get a 2% ROI on your bets, 2%, there's 30 days in a month, right? You're usually betting on games that are that day or maybe tomorrow, or sometimes in the UFC, right? The UFC is not till Saturday. I placed this bet yesterday, you know, whatever. So like sometimes you're placing bets 2 days away, whatever. But you get the point is like in general, in sports betting, your returns are daily. So like people always think about, oh, the stock market, it goes up 8% a year. You could earn a 2% ROI on your bets, on your MLB bets. That's 60% a month, right? Assuming there's 30 days in a month, 2% times 30, 60%, you know, return on capital. So if you're betting $1,000 a day, 2% ROI a day, $600 a day, pretty good. So what we can do is we can just kind of continue to go through, hopefully find some bets. And why don't we take a look at Hot Streak? So this is a new sports book. Again, you know, all these books, like whenever I'm in a new state, I try to see which sports book is legal. And a lot of times I'm just doing these new user sign-up bonuses, right? Like even if you only use this Hot Streak platform for a week, they're literally giving you $200 to sign up. All these books, it's like a marketing cost for them, right? It's like, you know, whatever. It's a marketing cost for them, right? They give you literally free money to sign up, place your first bet with them. You put in $200. Hot Streak gives you $200 of site credit. That's free $200. It takes 2 minutes to sign up for Hot Streak. And it's not like the sexiest or whatever, the most popular platform, but I mean, it's a free $200. So there's not that much to complain about. So what's kind of cool about this Hot Streak platform is they run a lot of promos. I mean, you know, like you can see right here, they'll literally tell you that the play is profitable. They're literally telling you this play is 1.4% plus EV or profitable. So OddsJam picks up a lot of these. So I don't find a ton of value or profitable bets on Hot Streak in general, but there seems to be a lot of good promos, right? So on this Hot Streak platform, you need to have at least 2 picks, 2 players from 2 different teams, as it says. So I'm going to take this pick for the promo, and then what I can do is just find a different player. Luis Severino over 5.5 strikeouts, at plus 143 odds. That seems pretty good. All the other books pricing this around like plus 125-ish. So we'll go with this, right? And again, it all just boils down to, taking the plays in green, or in this case, yellow, anything where the, edge or profit margin is positive. So this play obviously isn't that good. Aaron Nola under 6.5 strikeouts. It's just like fair, right? 0.06% EV, right? So if you think about it, if you want to think about like an analogy for EV, so I'll go ahead and I'll lock this in. And this is Hot Streak. So unfortunately for these promos, they only let you bet $10. So I'll just go ahead and lock it in, right? $10, little promo right here. Pretty simple, right? Taking advantage of all the books with profitable promos. I always tell people, like, if you can't make money betting on promos, then like you're not going to make money sports betting, period. So if you're just starting out sports betting, take advantage of these $200 sign-up bonuses. This is the easiest $200 you're going to make. You start to get, actually become a profitable bettor. You're not betting with your gut. You're taking the easy money promos. FanDuel promo today, they have a 30%, profit boost on a 3-leg MLB parlay. So I went with this. Just found the plays on the positive EV tool. So again, I'm just like, whatever book wants to give me free money, $200 to sign up, whatever book wants to run these, hourly odds boosts, I just take advantage of the profit betting opportunities that are available. So yeah. So we can go back to Underdog Fantasy, or we can look at SportsBattle. I mean, there's tons of different platforms. Obviously, the more platforms you kind of have, the better. So on the Sportsbattle platform, again, all my refer a friend codes are below for these books. Like, they all give you some type of sign-up bonus. Like Caesar Sportsbook has probably the best sign-up bonus of all. It's a $12.50 risk-free bet. So basically the way it works is you place your first bet on Caesars. If you lose, they give you your money back up to $1,250. So it's a pretty attractive promo, right? You bet $12.50, and if you lose, right, you get your money back. So essentially, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? If this were my first bet on Caesars, if I were to lose it, I get my money back. If I were to win it, you keep the winnings. So tons of books, tons of sign-up bonuses. Again, I have videos, kind of breaking down all these different promos, like Caesar Sportsbook. What's their sign-up bonus? How do you maximize the profit margin of it? Hot Streak, it's pretty simple, $200 deposit match. But yeah, SportsBattle, it's an $100 deposit match. But anyways, whatever. Let's go back to Underdog Fantasy. Let's hit another bet. So we can go back here. And again, we weren't able to place this bet on Guigo earlier because we decided to go with his teammate Grell. All these different esports players. But what we do is now we can go with Guigo, right? And again, nothing complicated. I feel like a lot of people are always hoping I say something really complicated. But the truth is it's a pretty simple strategy to making money sports betting. You find plays with an edge, right? It's like finding bets weighted in your favor. When I was a trader, pretty simple. You take trades with an edge, right? Sometimes you'll make money, sometimes you'll lose money, but if you have an edge, you win long term. And it's kind of this, it's the same thing with being a poker player, right? The best poker players in the world, they play the hands optimally. They have an edge over their opponents. Sometimes they're going to be dealt 2-7, 2 times row and get screwed and lose money. But, if you have an edge in poker, you win long term. And it's kind of the same thing for sports betting. I mean, it is the same thing, right? Which is why a lot of good poker players are also good sports bettors, because they think mathematically and they understand, it's all about having a long-term focus, because you're not in every single hand at the poker table, even if you're the best player in the world and make millions of dollars a year playing poker. So what we can do is we can, find some more picks, go with some more picks. So how about this one, right? So again, this is just the fantasy optimizer on OddsJam. The positive EV tool more shows sports books. And there are a lot of sports books out there, right? I say this all the time. I'm just showing you the sports books I use. There's tons of bets out there on all these different sports books, FanDuel, DraftKings, stuff like that, Bet365. So you want to have as many books as possible. But again, you're probably going to be constrained by your location just because, unfortunately, the US and Canada, all these places have pretty weird regulations where you can only place, bets on certain platforms in your state. So you can see there's some plays on Fliff. This one I've already locked in. Some new plays are popping up, but it's not available on my computer. You can see there's a play on Caesar Sportsbook. And a lot of people, again, will just be like, wow, that's a low profit margin. Are you sure you want to bet it? Right? And it's like, yeah, sure. It's a little low. I mean, some people will ask me, what should I set my EV percentage to? And it's like, some people will set this at 1.5%, 2%. Like, what do you want the profit margin of your bets to be? But again, if you're earning a 0.5% ROI on your bets, 30 days in a month, that's 15% a month. Like, that's not bad. You'd be beating every single hedge fund if you had a 0.5% ROI on your bets. So again, it's not the best bet in the world, but sometimes there's just less sports going on. So we can go ahead. We can lock this in as well. I always say this as well, but like there's an added benefit of placing bets on sports books. Not a lot of people don't care, but where do we find this? So we want to go here, and you're going to see the play with value. Like, it's such a random market, right? It's like there's value on the first half run line. That's where Caesar Sportsbook is screwing up. Every other bookmaker, another really sharp sports book, they're all pricing this around like, minus 105. Caesar's plus 110, pretty clear value. So we just have to find it. So we have to go to inning bets. And again, great bets don't last forever. I mean, it was the same thing as a trader, right? The best trades aren't going to last forever. You can't sit there all day and think about it. So you got to move quickly. So we want the Guardians first half run line minus half at plus 110. So where is this? First inning money line. So some of these stuff result after 5 innings. So what we can do is, again, like, I don't even know where to find this. So Amanda, oh, here it is, 5 innings. So we want this play. And then we can just lock it in for $250. Right? All my plays are just automatically tracked, on Picket. But it's pretty simple, right? And if you don't understand how sports books work, it's important that we have some videos about, in some, tutorials, just kind of about no vig odds. Like, this calculator is by far the most important calculator in sports betting. It kind of explains how sports books set odds, how sports books try to make money. So again, it's called a no vig odds calculator. It's very important. If you're a new sports bettor, if you really want to get into understanding how the math behind sports betting works, how sports books set odds, how you find profitable bets, like this no vig odds calculator is really important. So feel free to email me with any questions, if you do end up checking it out. But anyways, we'll go ahead. We'll lock in this play on Caesars. But what I was going to say is another benefit, of placing bets is sportsbooks give you reward credits. So, for example, it's essentially cash back, right? I just bet $250 on Caesars. I now have 388 reward credits. 300 reward credits is $1. And that was just a $250 bet, which is worth $3 in bonus cash. So it's kind of like cash back, right? So I just converted those reward credits back into cash that I can now bet on my Caesars account. So all these books have like reward programs, which is just like an added benefit. I mean, it's literally cash back when you're betting on Caesars and DraftKings. It's like whatever, 0.5%. I'm not exactly sure what it is. And all these sports books have pretty lucrative, reward programs in general that you can look into. Free hotel stays in Vegas once you bet enough money on Caesars. So when you're betting on these sports books, if you're profitable, you have the added benefit that you get, free rooms, all that sort of stuff from all these sports books, which, obviously an added benefit. So we can go back to Underdog Fantasy, start locking in some plays here. And what we can also do is just pull up, some different tools on OddsJam, whatever. Try to find some good plays. So again, like there's a lot of discrepancies currently. I assume sportsbooks just posted esports odds. But if we take a look here, so we can go to like, this tool is called the Sportsbook Screen. Some people like it, some don't. But all it does is just kind of show you for a given market, like where is every book setting the line. So the positive EV tool shows you big discrepancies in where sportsbooks are setting their line. It kind of just like handholds you, shows you, hey, this is a profitable bet. This is a huge line discrepancy. And this is your profit margin, 4.86%, right? Really high profit margin. So really good play to go with. Whereas the sportsbook screen is a lot simpler. It just kind of shows you raw data. So, maybe this is a play we want to go with. But anyways, we can keep looking. So here you can see it's just like only PrizePicks and Underdog Fantasy here are posting lines for like Yoshino in League of Legends. So we skip that and we go to Hoglet, right? So the benefit here, and I didn't already bet this, I don't think. Well, I did already bet this Hoglet guy, so I'm not going to be able to bet him again, and I'm going to have to go with his teammate Ricky. So again, what stinks is a lot of people are like, oh, if, you can make money sports betting, like why would you help other people make money sports betting? I get that question all the time. And the answer is just like, sports books have betting limits. Like you can see right here, I've already bet $100 on this player Hoglet to go under 5 kills. I think it's a good bet. I would love to bet more on it, but I've already hit my $100 limit. And that's why I always say like sports betting is a great side hustle, but like, I'm always going to try to help other people kind of understand how to make money because again, like this isn't super scalable because sports books at the end of the day, a lot of them have max bet sizes of $100. So you can make thousands of dollars a month if you're good at it and you understand the math. But again, at the end of the day, you can't log into your Underdog Fantasy account and just start betting $10,000. So it's a great side hustle. It's a great way to make a few thousand extra bucks a month, but it's something where it's really hard to like scale up. So if you look at this player, Ricky, right, it's the same thing. Underdog has his line at 5. PrizePicks ParlayPlay have his line at 4.5. Pretty clear value taking under. And then we can go to the WNBA. So we can shift over to the WNBA. You can see it's recommending Jonquel Jones under 12.5 points for the Liberty. So this play seems pretty good. So maybe we take that. Or we could take Karras over 3.5. Or did we already take this? So we already took Karras over 3.5. But you can see a lot of esports lines just dropped. And there's a fair amount of discrepancies out there right now. So maybe we take this play on Jones. I mean, we have a lot of different options, but maybe we just take this play on Jones under 12.5 points. So Jonquel Jones under 12.5 points. And then we'll go ahead. We'll lock this in for $100. So Ricky Guigo under 3 unders. No overs. And we can go ahead and we can lock that in, right? So I say this too, but like, you want to place as many bets as possible every day. It's just like being a poker player. Some people, they try to look for the best bet of the day. It's like your bet has an edge or it doesn't have an edge. Nobody can see the future and tell me which MLB team is guaranteed to win tonight. Like it's not possible. It's impossible, right? So it's all about finding plays with a mathematical edge, and you want to place as many bets as possible, right? This bet's profitable, but Fliff only has a max bet size of $250. So I hit this for $250. I'm not able to bet more on it, right? So it doesn't make sense to place one bet a day because sportsbooks have these betting limits. You need to find a bunch of plays with a mathematical edge and lock them in, right? You want to find as many profitable bets as possible. It's just like being a great poker player. You may go, you sit down at the table, you get 2-7, the worst cards possible. You don't just leave the table. It's all about having an edge long-term, right? Which is exactly what OddsJam does. It points out mathematically profitable plays, all based in data, right? Real-time market data. There's no BS. It's just literally where are sportsbooks setting the lines. The sharpest sportsbooks are pricing David Peterson under 5.5 hits allowed around -180, right? Doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell you that -125 is clearly a really good betting opportunity. And all OddsJam is doing is, updating these millions of odds across sports books, literally reading in all this data from Underdog Fantasy in real time to point out these big discrepancies to you, like this one. So anyways, let's go back here to Underdog Fantasy, and we just locked in a play, but maybe we can find some more. So soccer, there's some different options, but I think we can also just call it a day for now. Any questions you have, you can always email me. So here we can see, dang, early MLB bet for tomorrow. So I've explained this before, but sometimes you can get some pretty good bets. So let me log into DraftKings really quick. I realize I'm not logged in. But you can sometimes find some really good bets when sportsbooks first release odds for an upcoming day. So let's go here. And then let me log in quickly. And you can see right here, if you use DraftKings Sportsbook, the Mariners game tomorrow looks like a great betting opportunity. So let's just go ahead. I'll share my screen. So you can see Fliff just opened the line at -150. Bet Online -130 they're at. FanDuel -142. DraftKings -118 on the Mariners for tomorrow. It's going to make me verify. Anyways, I'm probably going to be too late to get to it anyways, but if you use DraftKings, here's another really good betting opportunity. It's a little early. It's for tomorrow, but still clear value in the market. Then this play's really good too. Metalez on hot streak. So we can go back here. And what I can do is typically on the hot streak screen, I recommend just setting your max odds to 250 or so. But anyways, we'll call it a day for now. I'll probably be back on live later. Hopefully this was helpful. Any questions you have, don't hesitate to email me, DM me on Twitter. And thanks so much for your time.